Hi, I'm Judith Monroe. This is my studio, and it's time for some art journaling. For this art journaling video, I decided to try to keep it a little bit shorter, and I'm going to tackle this blank page, and I'm going to start the process on this. I decided I'm gonna do kind of the same approach I would take for a regular piece of art that I would do on a panel, but instead I'm gonna work in my journal. So the same sort of steps. So the first step is I've decided I'm gonna use this photograph. This is actually a printing mistake. This is a piece of one of my still lifes, but I liked it enough to save it. And so I'm going to transfer it eventually onto my journaling page. But the first part of that process is to coat it in matte gel medium. This is my favorite. Maybe I should get them to pay me money. You know. But anyway, so matte gel medium is this thick, pasty stuff, and I'm just coating the image in this fairly generously. And once I'm done with this coating part, I'm going to set it aside and let it dry. If I went according to my normal kind of flow in the studio, I would just let this dry for, I don't know, about a day or so. When it's warm and dry, it might be done later, but that's that. And that's just gonna get set aside, and probably in the next video I'll show you how I will transfer that. Okay, so the next part of my process is doing some collage work, generally creating a physical texture, but I'm gonna do mostly visual texture this time because modeling paste and an art journal not so easy to deal with. So I have pages I have torn out of the Bible. I'm going to use this as kind of foundational for this piece, and that's fairly fitting because the Bible is foundational for my faith and a lot of my work. So I'm going to get a little literal and just kind of put that foundation in. So Bible pages have a tendency to be very light, like almost tissue paper like, so I'm treating it kind of like tissue paper. And actually I want that edge gone. So more matte gel medium. It just, I use lots of this stuff. And I haven't really planned what I was going to do with this. I know I want the fish here. So, and I like to create some kind of movement with even my underlying layers, which can be a little trickier when I've got a seam down the middle of it, but you know, we'll just go with it. And actually, by crinkling up and wrinkling up my pages here, I am giving myself some physical texture as well as visual. So, you know, that's kind of fun. Alright, I kind of like that. Any individual, any different things I want to do, I can do. This just randomly happened to be around and I kind of like it, so it's gonna go here. If I have any other random interesting things, maybe some other stronger text. Sometimes I'll go through magazines and cut out words, and then they will become part of my journaling. And I kind of like sometimes just the randomness. I'm sure there are people who talk about that wasn't random at all. I selected all of those things. I just didn't think too strongly in my selection process. Oh, All right, so the next step in this process would be to put gesso over all of this to kind of help push it to the background. And so I have gesso mixed with water in here. And that's going to be the next thing I do, is just let all of this not be completely obliterated, but somewhat. Now this is very wet and it needs to be dried. In the normal course of life I'd walk away, but I'm going to force it dry with a heat gun. Right, so that's nice and dry, and the next thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of color, a first layer of light color, and sure, Wisteria Violet. These are watercolors, my favorite Peerless watercolors, and they're a little different. I'm not so sure how much of that blue, that purple I'm feeling. Alright. So I like this. I'm liking this, and I'm thinking that the next thing I would want to do is to transfer this image onto that page, but everything is wet. So I'm gonna let all of this stuff dry and then come back in another video and show you how I put it together. So that's how I start a journal page, and I will be sure to come back in the next day or two after this stuff dries and show you the next steps. Until then, subscribe, like, and comment. Thanks.